What's up, guys? Welcome to my April 15th Blu-ray update. I'm going to talk about some movies that I've purchased in the last 5 to 7 days. Going to go over some movies that I've been really excited to see get released. Some movies that I have to stand corrected on that I thought were not Blu-ray and were. So let's get started. First movie I had to get to add to my collection and also to complete my collection of the American Pies. I got the fourth one, the American reunion one. It came out about like a year and a half ago. I actually was concerned about this movie bombing. I thought it was going to be probably sort of a push. If you notice, throughout the three movies, Stifler kind of changed his laugh, changed his ways a little bit. Like, he was still funny by the third one, but I thought he was kind of getting worse and worse. So the first one, he was the best. But this one here, I was very excited about seeing, but I was very nervous, like I said. But Stifler was awesome in this movie. I was a little concerned that he would be a douche in the wrong way, not like the cool way that he always is. He was real cool in this. Really excited about this movie for how good it was. You know, I thought Jason Biggs, finally looked older. It didn't look like the typical 15-year-old like he always does. And the guys all looked older, like they really seemed like they were coming back from like a definite post-college, post-grad school, post-doctorate, whatever. And, they just had a really good time in this by just having a reunion again, meeting at the bar, at the local bar, and, it was just a great movie. And I loved how they interacted with high school kids. I thought that was really well done and very accurate on how things happen. When you come back and you still think you're the shit and stuff, but it was just a really good movie, and I thought Allison Hannigan was really good in this, and Mina Suvari, I love that she came back. I love to see Mina Suvari again. Such an underrated actress. I always had a little crush on her, and when I was much younger, and she's still a good-looking girl. I was just happy to see her in this movie. But very happy they made this movie, and I think it was a great way to finish a set and collection. And this movie had the ultimate revenge that Stifler could ever do to Finch. It was awesome. That's all I'm going to say if you haven't seen it. Great flick. So happy that came out. Next one I got was, I think a 70s classic. Saw this with my dad when I was much younger. Always thought it was such a cool movie, and I always thought I was so cool to be able to watch it because it was R-rated. Blues Brothers with Dan Aykroyd right here and John Belushi right here, the late John Belushi. This movie was just so good because it just had so many elements to it. There was music, there was acting, there was storylines, there was scenery, there was action. There just was so much involved in it. And this movie really, I think, was one of the first ones that had the Saturday Night Live crew go to a movie. I could be wrong about that. I hope I'm not. But it was kind of like the first one that really went from seeing these guys Saturday nights to actually seeing them on a big screen. And is it going to be a hit or is it not going to be a hit? And it was a hit. It was an excellent movie. And I always think about the time in Toys R Us is, do you have a Big Bird or something like that? Do you have an Ernie or something like that? And all of a sudden the police car just flies right through the Toys R Us. I always loved that part. Thought that was so funny. I remember as a little kid at Toys R Us, I was always looking at the windows to see if something was coming, a car was coming in. I don't know. When I was little, I was freaked out by that. But just really love this movie. I love the Ray Charles cameo when they go to the music store and the little boy tries to steal and he shoots at him. And I mean, how could you know that someone was trying to steal from you? It was just amazing. But love James Brown in this. I loved Blues Brothers Band. Steve Cropper is an amazing guitarist. He was in this, and Donald Duck Dunn was in it as well for the band member. Really loved that. Love John Candy in this. Another guy who was really good was John Candy. He did the Orange Whip. Loved the Orange Whip. One Orange Whip, two Orange Whips, three Orange Whips. That was the best. But so happy this movie came out on Blu-ray, and the picture quality is really good. So I was very excited to see this. Check it out. It's a classic. Next one, I don't know why I got this. When I was in like 5th or 6th grade, I remember this came out, and I remember I think I bought it from pay-per-view way back in the day when it was like channel 98 or 99, and I didn't tell anyone that I watched this in my family because I think I would have been in trouble. But Don't Be a Menace to South Central while Wheezing the Juice in the Hood or something like that. Wait, Don't Be while drinking your juice in the hood. That's right. This movie is it's so bad, but it's so good. It's a guilty pleasure. You know, Sean and Marlon Wayans were really good in this, and it was just a strange movie. But it was one of those movies that you just love so much. It kind of was an a la Friday, the Chris Tucker and Ice Cube. It was kind of like that, but just emphasized to the T. To every stereotype possible was put in this movie. It really wasn't that bad. I just really loved this movie. I don't know what it was. It was one of those movies I always had as a kid that I recorded off pay-per-view, and I would always just watch and I thought it was so funny because I loved the Wayans Brothers show. And when I was a kid, they were on the WB. You know, you couldn't swear on the WB, but these guys were in this movie and they were swearing like crazy. I just thought that was so weird. I'm like, you guys are on the WB. Why are you swearing? So I really love this movie. And, I thought it was so funny that Shawn Wayans' dad was like 2 years older than him. Like, I was so, like, okay, how's that possible? I just thought that was really good. But one of those movies I just really liked. Check it out. 1995 it came out. Next one, had to get. Didn't know this was Blu-ray. I might even said I wish this went Blu-ray. But Edward Scissorhands, I mean, it was the early 90s. PG-13. Johnny Depp, this was the first movie I ever saw of Johnny Depp when I was a little kid. And I was creeped out by him with, his hands and, it freaked me out how he could do all those bushes so fast and, all the scars on his face and his black hair that was like, seemed greasy all the time and stringy and long. And it was just one of those movies that creeped me out, but I never could turn it off. I think that's the case for most people because it's so interesting and so strange, but it just keeps your attention. It's one of those movies that if it's on, I always watch it because I always get excited that he gets accepted sort of in the whole like realm of that neighborhood. And I always love the part where the lady who does his hair like kind of comes on to him. I don't know. I thought that was really cool in that movie. I don't know. I was a kid. I just thought that was neat. But, it's just Winona Ryder was good in this, and Diane Wiest, Anthony Michael Hall. This was a young Winona Ryder as well. And I just really liked this movie, and I just thought Tim Burton went really deep, creepy, but cool in this movie. And that seems to be his forte for most movies. But, I mean, yeah, I'm sure everyone's seen this movie. I don't know anybody that has not seen this movie. But if you haven't, you got to check this out and also get it in Blu-ray format. It looks really cool. The next one I got, I had it on DVD, and for a long time, up until about the last 2 weeks, I thought I had it on Blu-ray. I just didn't check. But I had to pick up the Seth Rogen, Katherine Heigl, Jason Segel Knocked Up. Now, this is right before Jason Segel got real huge and got famous. This was right before it. And also Jay Baruchel, who's in She's Out of My League. That was right before those two got big, in my opinion. This is when Seth Rogen was really starting to hit it big. And this was kind of his movie to get him big, too. Katherine Heigl always seems to play the same character in every movie. She's a Jennifer Aniston-esque kind of person. Just plays the same character in every movie. I'm not into her at all. I don't know what it is. I just don't like her in movies. Because I feel like she's just I don't know. She seems like a complete bitch in most movies and possibly real life. That's a guess. But that's just how I think. But I love Seth Rogen in this. I love that he stayed true to himself. She was a stuck-up producer with TV at E! Entertainment, and he would just smoke pot. That's what he was like. And he's like, you smoke pot? She's like, no. He goes, not in the morning? She's like, no, not ever. Like, I just love that he was just like himself. And she obviously, spoiler alert, loved him for that. And, it's a great movie. It's crazy how two people get together. And, it shows the world of pregnancy and how it can be a disaster and how it can be a blessing all at one time. And this movie always makes me laugh. And I don't know what it is about this movie, but I love the exchange with Seth Rogen and Howard Ramis. Howard Ramis was Egon in Ghostbusters. And I love that they were father and son in this movie. And I love how his dad's so cool with him and so loving and caring no matter what. There's a great dialogue, a great scene with great dialogue with them two, and they talk about just life in general. And you can see why, Seth Rogen in this movie is the way he is. He's a lot like his father, just very easygoing. But I love the advice he gives him about stuff, and he just loved him. I really appreciated the fact that he loved him. Reminds me of my dad, the way he loves me. It's just unconditional no matter what. And I relate to that a lot with this movie, and I just really appreciate it. But the movie's really funny. It's very graphic in the nature of pregnancy, intercourse, all that kind of stuff. It was just really good. I just really liked it. I felt like it was real life. That's a great movie. A movie I was really excited, probably the most excited of all my purchases in the past probably months, was Ladybugs. I loved this movie growing up. I thought this was the greatest thing in the world. I played soccer a few years as a kid, but I got into football and I got into other sports. Didn't really play soccer that much. But this movie was right at the height of me getting done with soccer. But I just remember thinking this movie was so funny. It's an early Lionsgate film. But Jonathan Brandis and Rodney Dangerfield and Ladybugs. Just so happy this was on Blu-ray. And I can't wait to unbox and watch this movie. I have not seen this in easily 10 to 12 years. Always loved Rodney Dangerfield and everything he's ever done. Meet Wally Sparks was great. I love to see that go Blu-ray. But anyway, this movie was so funny. I think it was early 90s, like 1992 this came, 1992 this came out. And, Rodney Dangerfield and this lady, like, they become soccer coaches. He doesn't really know what he's doing, but he's trying to get more in tune with Jonathan Brandis because that's his wife's son from another guy. And it's just so funny on what he does, and he's just a sleazy salesman named Chester, Rodney Dangerfield. And he tries to get closer with Matthew, who plays Jonathan Brandis plays, and basically Chester tries to do anything he can to win in soccer. So he's coaching a girls' team and makes Matthew, Jonathan Brandis, dressed as a girl named Martha, and her voice is so badly disguised as a chick. Like, if anyone with a brain and ears would probably figure out that it was a guy underneath that. But the whole movie they didn't until things go awry. But it's just a funny movie, and it just reminds me of just a coach not knowing what the hell soccer really is about, and he's just guessing. Kicking and Screaming, Will Ferrell movie reminded me of this a little bit, but this is way better. And I just always love the part. But I forget who sings the song. But all you have to do is dream when the girl's running and Jonathan Brandis like hugs her. Like, I just really love that song. That's the first time I heard that song. That all you have to do is dream. Love that. Just thought that was such a cool song and perfect song choice for that scene too. But really love this. You gotta check it out. It always makes me laugh. And a lot of funny one-liners, obviously by Rodney Dangerfield, which he was known for. The next movie I want to talk about is License to Drive. One of my favorite movies growing up. Saw this probably in middle school on a late night USA Network kind of a thing. Like I said about Dutch, I think about a week ago. Just one of those movies that I was just like, oh, what's this movie? And just sat there and watched it. Some funny things kept me alert to it. But just absolutely love this movie. This movie freaked me out about getting my license because I was like, these test questions are hard, but obviously you take driver's ed in high school and you learn certain things, so that all kind of goes away. But really love to see this come out on Blu-ray. I have it on DVD. Picture quality's really bad on a big screen TV. I was just like, this has to go Blu-ray because I just want to see this, and it did. So I was so excited to see this go Blu-ray, and it was an early Heather Graham. She was real young in this movie. She played Mercedes Lane. And of course, the late Corey Haim and Corey Feldman, who teamed up in a lot of movies that were basically the protagonist duo here, they were really funny in this movie. There are so many funny parts in this. The one guy I think was in the Weird Science TV show. He plays their friend Charles. He's so funny in this. He's like a dork, but he's really like cool at the same time. And Carol Kane, who was in Taxi, she was in this as Corey Haim's mom. And Richard Mazer, which most people don't know who that is, but if you see this movie, you'll know right away who he is. It's Corey Haim's dad. And I can't think of movies he's been in that you might know. For some reason, I think No, I'm not even going to guess. I can't even think what he was in. But he almost steals the show. He's one of the funniest characters in this movie. And he was an awesome dad. And just the way he reacts to Corey Haim's character, Les, that was his name, getting his license, or did he, kind of a thing. And just what happens with taking a car out on a night, trying to impress a girl. Just all the bad things that can happen when you try to sneak out. With or without a license, who knows? But you got to check this out. I think 1986 this came out. That's a guess. I think, yeah, 1980. I'd say 1986. That's a guess. But just a classic movie. Got to check it out. Maybe late 80s it came out. But a great movie. You absolutely love it. Always makes me laugh. Just watched this movie last night, actually. I obviously was going to give you a review on it, so I had to at least see it. But Perks of Being a Wallflower, this is probably the latest movie I've purchased that is most recently released. Really love this movie. This kid right here, his name's Logan Lerman. He was really good in this movie. He played Charlie, an introvert that is a freshman in high school that doesn't have any friends from a lot of past situations that didn't make him look too cool. And he was very, very quietly humbled and just didn't do anything really till he met these two. Right here, Emma Watson is Sam. That's her character, Sam. And then this guy was Patrick, who's played by Ezra Miller. And they were two seniors that are twins, they're brother and sister. And they kind of take him in and kind of show him the ropes of high school. And you learn a lot about why Charlie is the way he is, who, of course, is Logan Lerman. And you feel for him. Like, I feel like there's someone in everyone's life that reminds you of him, and you cheer for him and you hope for him. And it was a very touching movie. Somewhat sad. It might be a little bit of a tearjerker for male or female. I just feel like you just hope for so many things for this kid, and it just hits home. It's an emotional movie. Really loved it. I have to say, if I go 1 to 10, 10 being the highest rating, a definite solid 7.5, 8. Just a great movie. I was really happy to see that Pittsburgh was in this. It was filmed all in Pittsburgh, and you got to see the Pittsburgh Tunnel, and it goes out onto the bridge where the Highmark Building's at, and PNC Park is to your right, and Heinz Field's to your left. That was really cool, because my girlfriend and I like to frequent Pittsburgh a lot, just to hang out for a weekend and just have a good time. But great movie, an outstanding movie. Just so happy that I did buy this, because I usually don't buy the newer ones right away. I like to really hear a lot about them, but I just heard too many good things about it. I had to buy it. Great movie, excellent movie. Have about 3 left to go here. The next one, I always loved this movie. I never had it, and like my best friend growing up had the VHS of it. He's like, "Here, you can have it." Like, you always want to watch it. Always want to watch it. You can have my brother's copy. But I finally got it on Blu-ray. Got Robocop, a Peter Weller movie. He's a cop. He turns into like a robotic cop. And I still say to this day, Peter Weller, when he gets completely just destroyed by the bad guys of all those guns, is the most gory, this disgusting, nasty scene ever. Like, even Family Guy even spoofed it, and how horribly gory it was. And I was like, that'd be the worst death ever on what happened. Obviously he didn't die and became Robocop, but when he was a cop and just a regular cop, it was the most gory scene I've ever really seen, besides Hostel or Saw or The Collectors, all that stuff, all those horror movies. This isn't a horror movie, it's action. But that scene just still kills me to this day. I'm like, this guy gets destroyed. You just oh, this had to suck. Had to suck. But really liked this movie. Was so excited to get it on 1080 pixel, Blu-ray format. And it is a really good movie. It's just a good crime fighter movie. Never really got into any of the second or third movies. Just really wanted the first one. Just always wanted this, and you got to check it out. Good action flick, and like I said, if you want to see the most gory scene I've ever seen for a policeman's death or any kind of death, this is it. It's rough to watch. Second to last one here, Shutter Island. I was so pumped to get this. I know it's been available for a long time. I've walked by it at Best Buy. I've walked by it by Target. I've walked by it by Walmart. And I've seen it and I loved it. I just didn't buy it. And it's probably because it was so expensive. It was always $29.99 or $24.99. I was like, I'm not spending that much on this. It's no, thank you. But I saw it at Best Buy, and it said $14.99, but it was in the $9.99 slot. And I was like, if this movie's $10, I'm taking it home with me. Well, it was. I was really excited about that. I love this movie. I really love Sir Ben Kingsley in this. I love Leonardo DiCaprio in this. I love Mark Ruffalo in this, and Martin Scorsese is a genius, of course. Goodfellas, Casino, all those movies. I loved how they showed, Leonardo DiCaprio. You're thinking he's this, you're thinking he's that, and so much stuff happens in this movie. If you haven't seen it, I don't want to say much more, but you just believe in so much of the movie, and everything just takes a turn, and you're like, holy shit, like, I didn't see that coming. And then another thing happens, I didn't see that coming. And another thing happens, I didn't see that coming. It's like that kind of stuff happens, and you just get completely caught off guard, Get completely caught off guard. And it's just a great movie. And it's not really horror. It's just a suspense thriller, I would say, with some action, some disturbing scenes maybe, but I wouldn't say horror. I would not put this in horror. And this is also, Michelle Williams was in this. This movie came out in 2010, early 2010. And it was probably made around 2008, 2009. And this was probably a hard movie for Michelle Williams to make, because she was just a recent widow of Heath Ledger. He died like January 2008, I believe. And this was probably right when she was about to film this. So, you watch her in this movie and you can really see raw emotion and just sadness and concern for like Leonardo DiCaprio. But, I really felt she didn't have to act much, because she just lost a father of her child in real life. So you just wonder, like, I wonder when that was filmed, because I know it was very close to Heath Ledger's demise. So, Michelle Williams, you really believed, all of her emotion, all of that was put into this. And, just a great movie. Really love the ending. I don't want to tell you anything. There's so many interpretations to it. It's just awesome. Just flat out awesome. But you got to check it out. 2010 it came out. And my last one, I found this movie in college, like 2006 maybe, 2006. And it was one of those kind of indie films. Didn't do very well in the theaters. But it was just like, Boondock Saints. It was a classic when it came out on DVD. Everyone bought it, but waiting. Ryan Reynolds, who played Van Wilder, he's like the douchey, typical waiter that thinks he knows everything, but he's still a waiter. Nothing wrong with waitering, by the way, but he's still a waiter. And everyone in this movie is like, they work at a Applebee's style place, TGI Friday style place, Chili's style place. And they show you what goes on in those kind of commercial restaurants. And it's like, I hope to God none of that stuff happens, because I will not eat anywhere like that ever again, because the stuff that you see back in the kitchen is just disgusting. And if you haven't seen this, don't want to say anything, but you'll see why. And I love the game they play with each other, that if they sort of have their eyes look somewhere, they get kicked in the ass. And I won't tell you what it is. It's really funny. It's creative too. And it probably kills time like crazy. But love David Koechner as the douchey manager. He's so funny. Always talks out of the side of his mouth. I hate that, but I like it. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where it's like, dude, stop it, but don't stop it, because it's funny. I love Anna Faris. I'm a huge fan of Anna Faris. She plays like Ryan Reynolds' sort of ex, last hookup friend in this. And Justin Long's always funny, but he's just this whiny little bitch, always like, oh, what am I going to do with my life? That kind of guy. And he's kind of hanging out with a chick that works there, and I just love, and Dane Cook was in this, and he really overacted in this movie. Like, he was pretty cool in My Best Friend's Girl and Employee of the Month and Good Luck Chuck, but in this movie, it was right at like the peak of his comedic career as a comedian. Everyone loved him. And I thought that he tried to be too funny in this movie. I didn't like him in this. I thought he was not funny at all, to be honest with you. But it was still cool to see him in this. It was cool. And and also Andy Milonakis is in this movie. I am so glad he has no shows, or he's not famous at all, or he's not on TV. I hated him. I always thought he was so not funny, and I just never got into anything. I know he's like 55 and he looks like he's 7. Like I didn't like him. I never liked him, and I hated him in this movie. I was so happy. I'm so happy now he's not on TV. Could not stand him. But anyway, I digress. But just really love this movie, and love Luis Guzman is like the head chef, and he's just so filthy and just nasty, but he's the man in this movie. And again, don't want to give anything away because it was so funny. But yeah, that's the conclusion of my movie purchases for April 15th. My Blu-ray update. Look forward to seeing any comments, and always love new subscribers. If you have any questions or comments, like I said, please leave them, and I'll definitely answer them. If you have anything in mind that you'd like me to talk about, please leave again also in the box below. But until then, you take it easy, and bye.